And I'm fresh from having arrived at this morning lunch today at about what time did I get? About 1:15, only to have failed to see the email sent to me at 12:44 saying actually the lunch is cancelled. No explanation given, and no wrong done. But I think there are all sorts of pictures of me looking like a right Billy No Mates coming out of this lunch that was cancelled that I didn't read the email about just about an hour and a half ago. Oh, there I am in a very beautiful dress for my brand new collection. So that's a bit of luck for me, isn't it? But, nothing mysterious about a cancellation of a lunch that I didn't read the email telling me was cancelled. But what do you think was the purpose, Paul, of this inquiry in the first place? Because lots of people watching this and listening to this will think if the person that Phillip Schofield was having an affair with was over the legal age, which this guy most definitely was, he was in his 20s, then what's the problem here? There are people having affairs with people at work all over the place. Why is there a necessity to launch an inquiry into it? Looking for what?
Well, I think the independent inquiry, which has been rather protracted and I'm sure very expensive, was largely a reaction to following Caroline McCall's appearance before the Commons Culture and Media Select Committee. It'll be interesting to see whether they are impressed by this report, which at the end of the day doesn't tell us very much, and whether they decide to pursue it further. It's a curious one because also tomorrow's newspapers coverage will be interesting because what we're getting here is a sort of rather brief summary of the report, not the full report, and all the detail of it. And I think some MPs and some newspapers may be rather critical of that and want to know more. So this could yet return to the select committee again.
Well, my question to you, Paul, wasn't really that. Are you satisfied with the report? Do you think it should be revealed in more detail? That wasn't my question. My question was, what was it for? What were they looking for? What was the situation that was being looked into, do you think? What was the purpose of the report?
Well, I think one of the issues, especially in the current, if you like, climate, is whether, for example, a relationship led to somebody being taken advantage of on one level, or somebody's career being boosted by virtue of a relationship with a powerful figure. It's a question of of the power balance, and I'm not surprised in a sense that the external KC was unable to get very much evidence because I am sure particularly young production staff are not going to want to imperil their careers by talking very openly about this. But what was interesting, if you remember, during the select committee, one or two MPs on that select committee said they were getting emails from members of production staff, present and past at the time of that hearing, confirming, in their view, there was a toxic culture. So that's one of the reasons why I said that I think this could yet still return to Parliament in some shape or form.
I mean, I should declare my hand, if people don't know this, that I have been working on This Morning since 1992. I know I look much too young, Paul. You're amazed. You're aghast. How could I possibly have been? But I began as a child broadcaster in 1992 on that programme. So I've worked on it over many, many years under various different regimes with different presenters. And it doesn't mean, because I haven't seen it, that there's no such thing, but I have always considered it to be a really sort of fairly jolly ship to climb aboard. It's a light-hearted programme. The items are fun and fast-moving. It's brightly lit. They're in the studio. I was only there on Wednesday. On the show, there are about, 14 Christmas trees. There's delicious food. Somebody's talking about bubble bath. There's a lovely story about puppies. It's not, the world's most hard-hitting news programme. There are some hard-hitting stories, but it's in general a kind of upbeat, fun place to work, not just on screen, but off screen, because there's somebody carrying a stuffed goose, somebody wearing a bath towel. And generally, when you actually see the presenters, they're usually live on television, obviously being as lively and lovely as they can be, and the teams generally look as if they're having an interesting, fast-moving, quite fun time. So I've always been flabbergasted by the allegation that it's toxic. I can never imagine which bit of it could be or would be toxic, and I'm not surprised to see that this inquiry has found no evidence of a toxic culture, because I couldn't even conceive of which bit of the sort of production team and production line that makes the program could have possibly been toxic. You know, I didn't get it at all. So I'm not surprised. I would be surprised if there were to be some further investigation in which somebody bobs up and says, oh, actually it is toxic, because I'm trying to think where and how.
Well, we don't know, for example, exactly who the KC spoke to. I mean, it's listed how many
48 people.
But for example, did she talk to people? I mean, I don't know the truth of this any more than you do, in a sense. But did she talk to people like Eamon Holmes and Piers Morgan, who were talking about a toxic culture, and also about the claiming that this relationship was widely known about? So without seeing the full report, we don't quite know whether it's a whitewash or not.
But in whose interest would it be for a KC to give a whitewashed report? Why would somebody of integrity from outside the programme and outside the company want to deliver a whitewashed report?
I didn't question the integrity of the KC, but she could only report back on what she's able to access and who she talks to. I mean, this wasn't in any shape or form a judicial inquiry, so no one could be compelled to actually talk to her.
Well, Paul, I appreciate it. Very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much.